Hello everyone and welcome to this week's edition of the Extra Point. I'm here with Zach and Callie. How you guys doing today?
Good,
Good.
Yeah,
Just
okay.
fine and dandy, you know.
Let's talk football.
Let's move on to
Let's-
sports.
Let's talk about football. Let's talk about how bad I did in my picks.
Let's make football great again.
Let's make
Yes.
football great again.
Yes, let's
Let's
do
talk
it.
Because
about
now
how-
America's fixing to be great again. Anyway,
With that being said, let's talk high school football real quick. Coffee County, of course, we kind of figured they were going to lose to Maryville.
Yeah,
They
it's a
scored
10-0 team.
14 points. Their season's over, 56-14. Coffee County really, they have stuff to look forward to. They're a pretty good team, but being in that brutal conference that they play,
that's the thing that kills me about Coffee County is that no matter how good they look, especially compared to some of these area teams, it's just tough for them. I mean,
Yeah.
with that
I mean,
brutal
in
schedule.
a different conference, they might at least be able to
Yeah,
get
yeah.
a better seeding.
If they were moved down from 6A to 5A, which I think they should, but that's a whole different story. But they'd be a lot competitive because 5A includes Shelbyville, Franklin County, the people they fit, the teams that they fit in right with. So it's
It
just
used to be like that.
it used to be like that until
Back in them good old days.
back in the good old days of things.
Till government moved in and messed it up.
Yep.
Yeah, God, T-double, come on.
But anyway, all right, we might talk about Coffee County again here in a minute. Beach beat Shelbyville. It's a pretty good game, 44-30.
Yep.
Of course, Shelbyville's season is over. And also in playoff, Fayetteville, which I don't really think any of us know a whole lot about little Fayetteville down there.
No.
No.
They're 1A. They beat Copper Basin 49-6. Next against South Pittsburgh.
That's gonna be a good game.
Should be. I looked up and South Pittsburgh beat Copper Basin, I think, like 54-10. So,
South Pittsburgh has had some pretty good football teams over the last few years and it made a deep playoff run. So
well, South Pittsburgh has 1 loss and Fayetteville has 2 losses. It is in South Pittsburgh, but it might have been, South Pittsburgh's not that far from here.
no, it's not.
So, actually some teams that are still kind of local that are pretty good. South Pittsburgh's done well. Marion County, I think, is doing pretty good in their division.
As well as Marshall County as well.
Yeah,
who's
yeah.
down A.
And Forest, who isn't too far from here, I think, has done quite well. I want to talk for a second about this college or high school football. What does some of the area schools around here have to look forward to moving forward, going into next year? We're going to get a new coach at Franklin County.
Well,
right?
obviously
Yeah, I
we
got
will.
that.
They're looking for consistency.
Which makes no sense.
Exactly.
I'm going to put
I
Frank
thought they
County
had a
bit
little
on
bit of
blast.
consistency this past year.
Well, when
Had they
did they-
given
3, okay, so
Scott
th-
Smith more than 2 years, they would have had
but
consistency.
even there, 3 and what, 7? No. So 6 and 14 over 2 years. Doesn't that sound what? Consistent? You won 3 games 1 year, 3 games the next. Still consistent.
In some mind, maybe
Well,
complacent. as
Tullahoma
well.
would be consistent over the last couple of years.
Exactly.
Yeah,
They-
yeah, and that same motto, Tullahoma would be very
So
consistent.
consistency right there. I don't know. I
Well, area teams didn't do so well this year, so.
well look at the who they play. I mean, until that changes, I don't really think you'll see.
I think you've got to stick with the coach more than 2 years.
I agree.
You can't just scrap a coach after 2 years, which is what Franklin County has been notorious for the last couple or
Last decade.
Decade.
1.8 years is
yeah.
what they average.
2 years, giving a coach 2 years, you can't build a program in
Not
that
a high
time.
school
I'm
program.
sorry, no,
Not a
you-
high school program.
You can't build any program.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
College,
you're basically
high
given what
school.
talents you have in the local area.
Right,
It's not
exactly.
like-
Well, and if I'm
but the
a- if
coach
I'm
still
a
has
mom,
to do
yeah.
his first year as a coach is to get acclimated to the new area. His second year is getting some of those kids to play football, and Smith may have been able to do that. I don't know. I'm not around the Franklin County program, but that third year is whenever you really get to see coach. And
Well, both of those freshman teams did really well, and none of those kids, like maybe 10 kids from each team came after that. So that's another almost 100 kids that didn't even come over.
Well, maybe when we get our new Franklin County coach, and maybe we can get John Olive in here one day, and who's the coach over in Coffee County, I forget.
Ryan Solkowski is the
Yeah,
head coach over
maybe
there.
we can get Ryan in here one day, and we can talk about their program.
Yeah, that would be a good little round table.
But we'll see if we can do that since the season's over with. They all seem to probably have a little free time.
They all have time now.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's move on to college ball. I don't really want to talk about the picks over the last couple of weeks, but
Oh, come
You don't
on.
want to talk about it because you stinking it up. That's why.
I went 5-2 last week.
Well,
Miss.
I-
2 and
I
5.
told
Two
you,
and-
I-
2 and 5. 2
Well,
and
those
5.
are two upsets. And
I don't even want
then
to talk about
a
it 'cause
principal pick.
somebody went 6-1, and I'm
Yeah,
sure.
he's
that-
got
Oh,
pretty
who
good.
went 6
Heard
and
that
1?
all
I don't know who that is.
Overall, I'm 35-21. Callie is now below 500 at 27
Thanks.
and 29. And Zach, that one week we didn't tape, you got lucky, all right? Because you had horrible picks that week.
I did.
39 to
But
17.
that's the breaks.
All right, let's talk football for a minute before we go into this week's picks. Texas A&M gets beat by Mississippi State.
I can't say I wasn't just completely delighted.
Was that not coming into a game totally unprepared, or?
I think they
No,
were looking over it
They're-
a little bit.
They were, but then you've also got to look into some factors of key injuries. Trevor Knight going down in the second quarter. I mean, he still tried to play it after that, but after
Yeah,
the second
if
half,
you're
they
not
took
playing
him out of the
100%,
game,
yeah.
and he was out. There was
Yeah.
shoulder, and he's out for the remainder of the season for Texas
Mhm.
A&M. So that's going to be a big question mark for Texas A&M moving forward, as they've only lost 2 games, so they're set up for a premium bowl slot.
Yeah.
But now you don't know how many games you're going to lose.
Yeah.
Alabama and LSU, that's a great smash mouth again.
Yeah, I did not see that being as low scoring of a game.
I thought Alabama would be able to score a little bit more than
Especially
they
in
did.
the second half. I mean, obviously they did score in the second half, but I really feel like they were going to pull away, and they usually do, and they didn't.
LSU, no offense.
Yeah, that's
problem.
that's the key that's bit LSU this whole
Well,
season. is
Jalen Hurts,
no
though,
offense.
struggled as well. So I don't know.
All right, Ohio State beat down Nebraska.
Yeah,
I mean, it was like a snowball at the top of the
Yeah.
hill. It just
Yeah.
kept getting bigger and bigger.
I know. I saw the highlights.
and it didn't help that Nebraska's quarterback was knocked out unconscious on the field during the second quarter. So that
Did he
didn't
have to
help
go
at all.
through concussion protocol?
Actually, they took him straight to the hospital,
Oh,
and he returned thankfully okay, but he was knocked out unconscious there for
Wow.
the play.
That's terrible.
I didn't write this one down, but what about Florida getting beat by Arkansas? Yeah, that one makes me smile too.
Yeah, that like
The
I
whole
said, Florida's heading into that game. Florida's offense has struggled during that, and Arkansas has had a defense that's
Yeah.
been consistent, except for that Auburn game. That was
Well,
the
Florida
one
really.
slip up.
No.
Okay, in the polls, and we'll talk polls for just a minute, and then we'll move on. Polls, Virginia Tech and Florida are in the top 25 when both were beat by the Vols, who are not in the top 25.
I don't get why Florida's ranked on there. Virginia Tech, I can see why Virginia Tech. Ever since that Tennessee loss, they've been pretty consistent.
Yeah, I
So,
agree with that too, but not Florida.
But Florida, I'm scratching my head about that one. Why they're in the top 25?
I don't. I almost missed. I told my dad the other day. I almost missed the BCS.
Well, and Baylor and Nebraska
Almost.
remain in the polls, and
I
they just
know.
got both
That's-
pretty much
I
beat
know.
down
I don't know
in the last 2
the
weeks.
rhyme or
Well,
reason.
Nebraska was number 9, so you can't really. I mean, as bad as they look, they lost the number 6 team in the country. So you knock them down low in the polls in the top 25. So I can understand Nebraska still be hanging in there. Baylor though, Baylor needs to go.
Yeah.
Baylor got exposed against Texas, barely losing that game a week beforehand, and then just getting absolutely routed by TCU this past week.
Well, let's talk picks from last week real quick before we go into picks from this week. Now, you guys were saying, why did I put the Navy and Notre Dame game?
That turned out to be a 1-point game.
Yeah.
And
The
we
one
all
loss
picked-
I had.
We all picked Notre Dame, and realistically, I knew that could be a close game. Is Notre Dame's coach probably gone?
Yeah.
I don't want to say for sure, but it's not looking good.
No.
I'll say that much. I think Brian Kelly is a great coach.
But once again, let's go back to the polls. Wasn't Notre Dame in the top 10 in the
Oh,
polls?
yeah.
They were in the top 20. I can't remember if they were in the top 10.
And,
but
and
they
I
were.
don't
At least
think
the
it's
top
been
15 now,
injury or
yeah.
anything that's been their nemesis. It's just
No,
they're
it's
not
just
that
been
good.
they're not that good for whatever reason. So.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and go to this week's picks before our producer tells me I got 3 minutes to go. Kentucky at UT, Zach.
Going UT on this one. I think I still don't think Kentucky's that great of a football team. I think they're better than they have been in the past, but I don't think they're a great team. So I'm going UT.
I'm not sure if Cam Sutton or Kamara is back. I like what I saw out of the
Cam
offense.
Sutton maybe back.
Yeah, maybe back. I like, but we've also lost Evan Berry, who has been playing quite well for the rest of the year. Of course, I'm going to go UT, but man, I know Kentucky's going to.
I think it's gonna be a tough game.
It
I
is.
think talent-wise, UT can win that game.
Well, I hope. It's an
But
11
Kentucky
o'clock
came
kickoff.
off. Well, they lost right to Georgia last week.
Yep.
It was a good
Yeah,
game
but
though.
it was a good game.
LSU at Arkansas. This would be interesting.
I think LSU pulls this one out.
See, I think having this one at home for Arkansas is a good thing for Arkansas. And I think this will be a tight, low-scoring offensive
Yeah.
game. And I think Arkansas has proved that ability to put up the points. So,
I love Arkansas. I just think LSU is going to pull it out. I don't wouldn't mind seeing Arkansas.
I'm gonna probably have to go with Arkansas, but eventually I'm gonna have to go against you just because I gotta try to
you got to
catch
catch up in the
up.
polls.
Yeah. So I'm going with Arkansas. I think the home field advantage and just consistency from their team overall. Ole Miss at Texas A&M. Now we wrote this one down, but I just we found out a few days ago that the quarterback.
Both quarterbacks for both teams are
Yeah,
out for the
Chad
rest of the
Kelly's
season.
out for the rest
Yeah.
of the season
Okay,
as well.
so-
So this
that's-
is
that's
interesting.
kinda-
I think A&M wins this one. I think they have enough to win, enough talent.
This is one of those things where I think just the home factor is going to come into play. So I'm
Yeah.
going with Texas A&M as
Oh
well.
yeah, the 12 man.
I'm gonna go with Ole Miss.
Oh well.
I think their backup quarterback's going to step in, and I think Texas A&M is reeling, and they got to figure out what's going on. Auburn at Georgia. I know Auburn seems to be a perennial powerhouse, but Georgia's not bad.
No, and
They're not
Auburn
good
struggled
either.
last week against Vanderbilt, but then again,
But
that
Georgia
could be
got beat
looking.
by Vanderbilt.
I understand that, so that's why I'm saying Auburn could have been looking ahead towards this week.
Yeah.
I'm going Auburn in this one.
Me too.
I think Georgia's still trying to find itself.
I think Georgia is well trying to find itself. This would be a big win for Georgia, being at home. I think that gives them a chance, but I am going to go with Auburn. South Carolina at Florida. Now, 2 weeks ago, I would have said Florida's going to tear them apart, but now South Carolina's playing extremely better.
This one was a toss-up for me, honestly. This is one I asked Callie about before we were on the air, but I'm going Florida, and so I
You
think
get
the
advice
home.
from Cali.
Yeah, I know.
What?
I'm going with Florida on this one.
Yeah, I gotta
think
go with-
being that. at home.
That they're at Florida. Yeah.
I hate to do it.
Oh, I'd love to
Yeah.
see an upset though. Nothing would make Mama
I'll take a
happier
loss
than
on that
an
with
upset.
Florida. If they were to lose that, then it puts Tennessee back in
Yeah.
the East race. I don't know, Baylor at Oklahoma.
I think Oklahoma. Yeah.
Baylor's been exposed the last 2 weeks, so.
I'm going
Texas Tech,
Oklahoma as well.
State.
Texas Tech at Oklahoma State. This is one that, I don't know.
I'm going Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State beat Texas early in the year, and Texas just is coming off that win at Texas Tech. So
Yeah, I agree. I'm with that as
I'm
well.
going Oklahoma State.
I'm going Texas Tech. They're on fire.
Far.
Yeah, they are on fire.
They lost to
Okay.
Texas this week. How are they on fire?
I think they're going to win it. I think they're going to win it. This is
Thank
how
you.
I come back.
Okay.
I have to go out on a
Don't call it a comeback.
Yeah.
Yeah. We were going to talk MTSU football a little bit.
Oh.
Unfortunately, their quarterback's now out for
Yeah,
the rest of the
Stock
season. I
Still's
guess he
out.
may be able to make it back for a bowl game.
What's their record, producer?
3 losses.
Yeah, they got
I
3
think
losses
they're,
in the
I
season.
think they're 5-3 maybe. You
Yeah.
have Marshall coming up this week. It'll be a tough game.
That'll be a tough game.
So without their quarterback,
He says they got this.
but I think they're bowl eligible.
Okay,
I
that's
think
cool.
they're going to be
Go,
bowl
go
eligible
blue.
this year. So
Go blue.
Raiders.
we did that for you, Mr. Producer Man.
We're both of me and him are alums.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
an MTSU
I
alum.
didn't know you went to college.
Thank
All right, let's talk about the Titans now. Let's move ahead to
Let's move
the
ahead.
Titans
why?
struggling
Why?
at San Diego.
Am
You
I
know what?
allowed,
You
am
know
I
why
allowed to
they're
say what
losing?
I've written down here? The Titans still stink.
They still stink.
I don't know if that's really what you said, but we're gonna call that anyways.
Mariota has 3 turnovers that led to 17 points.
Maybe, but even still, that was still a closer game than 3 key turnovers with
Oh, they
lead-
played
lead,
great
so-
without the 3 turnovers.
Yeah.
It goes back to the Texas A&M Tennessee
It's-
game. You can't
it's-
fumble the ball 7 times or 3 times. and
It's
expect
kind of
to
like
win.
the whenever I think of the Titans, I think of these local area teams. And the Tullahoma, the Franklin counties. They're a young football team, and they've got to learn just how to avoid these key mistakes at crucial times. If they can do that, they'll be a pretty good football team,
Well,
as they have shown in the past. And
The defense was horrible.
yeah,
I mean,
well,
the defense had holes. They gave Melvin
Defense is
Gordon
gonna have
rush
those
for
types of
100. He had
games.
250 50 close to all-purpose yards.
Yeah.
The running back. I mean,
Let's just say they
San
could be
Diego-
let's just say they could be the Browns.
San Diego,
So there's always some
for
glass.
whatever their record is a better football team than whatever their record is. So San Diego's not exactly a horrible loss in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
Well,
It's one that you would like to not have, of course, because
well,
you want to win
especially
every
when
game.
and
but-
the offensive coordinator is ex-coach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That doesn't help.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, they play at home versus Green Bay this Sunday.
This will be an interesting one.
Green Bay's not as good as.
No,
Yeah.
Green Bay's been very inconsistent this year, and I think returning home is going to do a lot of good for Tennessee. Now, whether or not I think they'll win the game, I
Tennessee
don't know.
was like right there last
They
week.
are-
They
they are.
won it.
They're still right
Now
there. They're
no,
still
back
right
here
there.
now.
I'm over here just like whatever.
They're still right there. San Diego, like I said, is not a bad loss in the grand scheme of things. Green Bay is, I don't know. This is a toss-up game for me, so I don't want to call a winner, but I think it'll be a very, very close game.
I'll call a winner. Green Bay.
All
I
right.
think Green Bay will probably
Green
win it
Bay.
too. Anyway, with that being said, it's probably about time for us to wrap it up. I'm getting the wrap-up finger. That's the good one, I guess.
That's the good one.
But I'm here again with Zach. Zach, how can people reach you?
You can reach me on Twitter at Zach Birdsong, no spaces in between.
And the lovely Miss Callie, how can they reach you?
On Twitter at newsgal27.
Once again, if you guys have any suggestions, give us a call, give us a shout, let us know what you'd like us to talk about. If somebody would like to come on and be a participant in our show, we've reached out to a couple high school coaches. We'll reach out to the Titans president,
Oh, yeah.
and GM.
We should get Tracy
president.
Hayworth to come on here. I can
Sounds
get Tracy.
good. Let's get
Maybe.
somebody.
I totally can.
Maybe they have a better opinion than ours.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I doubt that, but that's okay.
We appreciate you folks joining us each week, all 8 of our viewers. And
Hey, I appreciate those 8 viewers.
Me too.
you guys have a good day. Thank you.